I've been just going like back and forth between gold and plat a little bit, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
just playing for a while. I almost got a session from Coach Mills a little bit
Mm-hmm.
ago, but he doesn't set things up in like the way you do, where
Sure.
like you have like a whole schedule thing. You have to like contact him and stuff. So I never really went through with it, but
Okay.
I saw your content and I really like it, so I was like, hey, let's give Spylo a try.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Sure. Sure. Sounds good. Sounds good. And you said you've been playing for a while.
Yeah, I believe since 2017. It's a little blurry, but I think it was
Sure.
like around when Mercy was starting to get reworked.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Have you always been a DPS player? I mean, I'm looking at the form here, Echo Tracer Widow. Has that changed? What has like your path been like? I guess over the last, I guess 7, 8 years now.
Yeah, I've always phased between every role. Like I'll have a phase where I switch between all of them, but DPS is like like the one I really like. I mostly just like Diva and tank, and then like support. I think the newer supports I really like playing them, but DPS is like there's consistently a ton of characters I like in that
Okay.
role.
Okay. What's been your percentage breakdown? I guess in the last couple of months of playtime for
Pretty much exclusively DPS. I've been just
exclusive
trying to
DPS.
focus on getting better at Echo for the most part.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so mostly Echo then within DPS as well.
Yeah, I got to Plat 5 on Echo, and then I started playing Widow a lot, and then I dropped down back to like Gold 4,
Okay.
but now I'm
Okay.
I'm back to like Gold 1 playing Echo again because I realized like I'm not gonna be playing Echo that much when Freya comes out because she looks like a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've been just playing Echo pretty much because
Okay.
she feels
Okay.
good.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, Echo's pretty tough here, I think. Let's what do you think of her perks?
Compared to the other characters, I feel like she's pretty middle of the road, if not towards the bottom. I don't know.
Agreed.
The
Yeah.
first one, I like being able to duplicate my teammates. Like there are certain characters I love duplicating. So if I have like a Kiri on my team, I love duplicating her if she's not on the enemy team.
Mm-hmm.
But like the second one, the flight cooldown reset feels very it's like it's not like Genji's dash, it's like an 8 second cooldown, like 6 seconds. By the time I get a beam kill, my flight is already on like a 3 second cooldown left, so resetting it doesn't feel great. And then the stickies, that's the one I usually pick. But I'm still not completely sure if that's like the correct one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I actually have that's like one of the very few perks that I actually haven't tested, I feel like enough. So now that I'm looking at it really quick here, so duplicate whatever. And then if we just do stickies here, like full stickies, like that's a lot, right? Like that's about 175 damage right there. I don't maybe a little bit more, about 180. But then if I go for the perk and then do full salvo, it's about 55 more, yeah. But obviously you do have to stick all of them. So if I miss a few, like let's say I don't quite get all of it. Yeah, I mean, maybe that is the one to get. I think it depends, right? But I'm kind of with you. It feels like the beam reset is like, it's really useful when it happens, but it's not consistent, right? You'd have to play around it a little bit more.
I do
And
see I do see a lot of Torb, so being able to like guarantee killing the turret with the stickies I like doing.
and we talk about the size of the target as well. So like bigger targets, you land more of your stickies, and and because the salvo. Now my only question would be, is the animation longer? And I feel like it is with the stickies. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like, is that extra a
Yeah.
quarter of a second longer? Is that opportunity cost matter that much? I would say that it's kind of up in the air here, no pun intended. So just kind of like keep experimenting with it. But I wouldn't be shocked if she gets a couple of tweaks to her perks next
For
week.
sure.
I don't have any insider information on that, sadly, but I honestly, I'm kind of with you on that one. I actually talked to the devs about the stickies perk because I wasn't a big fan of it. And I think the idea is that like maybe if it's good enough, you could like carpet bomb the floor. But they seem to kind of realize that that's not exactly how it's actually working. So it seemed like at least that they were aware that it's not quite. It doesn't really provide a lot. Like it's just kind of more stickies. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I love the idea of it. It's not like a numbers buff with a lot of other characters.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
makes you think about it.
Yeah, but it feels a little bit like the Divas Mega Missiles thing, where it's hard to really find out why it's useful. Besides, I guess it's technically slightly better, But I guess at least with Echo, the other option isn't that good, so you do have to test with it. But yeah, okay. I'm hoping to get a better understanding of my mains and develop good habits and have a better grasp of what my thought process should be while playing. Has that changed, or is that still the case?
Yeah, generally that's still the case. just trying to like figure out positioning. Mechanical skills a big thing for me, especially as a console player. But
Yeah.
I've always been told that gets better with time, regardless. So
Okay. I try to play around 5 to 6 times a week for 2 to 3 hours. Has that changed?
not for the yeah, not really. That's I mean, I in the past week I like took a break for 3 days, but for the most part I just play every day. Like I try and get at least one game in every day, but most of the time I play for a few hours.
Okay. And your goals were like getting out of gold and maybe even get to diamond one. Playtime wise alone, that's very reasonable, right? How long have you been training with this consistency and consistently mostly with Echo?
I've been doing so. I started doing that for a few weeks when I got the coaching session once I scheduled it. But then I
Yeah.
want to stay for a little bit, like for a few weeks. I went back to support, and then I went back to DPS.
Are these like boredom, interest driven? Is it other distractions? Is it frustration? What drives these pivots?
I guess, I mean, I don't want to say support is the objectively easier role. It's just nice to be able to sit there, heal with Juno and Curie. I just really like those characters.
What rank are you with
too.
support?
I'm also gold, like
Okay.
gold 2 or something.
Okay. Yeah,
I
so
just
just
like Curie and Juno a lot, so sometimes I just have the urge to play them.
yeah, okay, so that's not a bad thing. Like I want to play these characters. It's not driven by a sense of need, but just I want to play them. So that's okay. I mean, it is going to compromise some of your improvement with Echo, but ultimately this is a video game. And like if you're forcing yourself to grind at the expense of playing for fun, not only is that pointless, but also it could be actually it could harm your improvement, right? Because you could get frustrated at the game, and then you're not going to get better if you're frustrated. So here's what I'd say. I'd say that the way that you're approaching things is fine as long as you're playing Echo for like chunks at a time, like 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time, primarily DPS. You get bored. Playing support 2, 3 weeks at a time. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It kind of goes like it's like a workout term called periodization, which kind of like allows your brain or your body to make adaptations rather than just doing one thing and changing it up every single day. You get what I'm saying? Like you need a little bit of time to apply yourself and grind the things. But then if you take a bit of a break, you're not going to reset back to zero. That's not how it works. You'll come back to Echo and you'll pick it right up back where you started within a couple days. I don't know, mate. Like, let me look through what do you feel is holding you back from improving here, because I think so far there isn't a real obvious reason why you should still be gold with the way that you're training, the way that you're playing. Now, honest question, low-hanging fruit here. If I looked at your career profile, would we really see 70% Echo, 80% Echo, 60% Echo when you're playing DPS? Like, what's the other breakdown with the other characters?
Yeah, if you looked at my profile, you would see that I think my top 3 are like Diva, Widow, Pharah.
Okay.
I only recently started to pick up Echo just because I just love how her kit feels really well
Sure.
rounded. I just hadn't approached her for so long because she is really hard.
Yeah, she is.
intimidating.
I would say more to clarify, more of this season or the last season. That's what I'm more
Oh,
interested
I
in.
see.
You get what I'm saying?
I think I've sticked with Echo for these seasons. I'm trying to find season 14. Yeah, I actually think I played more support last season. I have 6
Okay.
hours on Juno, 4 hours on Echo.
Let me give you an example really quick here. Let me jump to this jackass's career profile. So, season, 4, okay? This is what you'd want if you were really trying to get better at May, okay? I didn't play a lot, but that's what you want. Not that. Season 6, this is not what you'd want. I obviously didn't put much time in on that. This is what you'd want. Right? Maybe not to this extreme, but this is what you'd want. Season 8, I played Malga for 2 hours. I was like, this tank is super easy and quit. This is what you'd want. Look at the Pharah hours, not terrible. This is what you'd want if you're putting hours in. This is what you'd want. Look at the hours in Juno. This is not what you'd want. Actually, I don't think I played that much that season. This is what you'd want for Hazard, right? And then you ready for the really ugly one? Because I've just been kind of playing on stream for fun. You ready for the ugly one? This is not what you'd want.
I mean, all the perks, makes sense. Wanting to
Yeah.
see all
So
the
just
stuff.
so I'm toying with different stuff, and I'm letting chat choose. It's more for fun, But it definitely shows in terms of my improvement as well. So it's like, when I climbed I guess the equivalent of like GM3, GM2 back in my day, 2018, I was two tricking, and I was two tricking for a long period of time, and I started in bronze. And that's ultimately what you want to do if you really, really want to rank up. Now, for you, you would like to rank up, but it's not like I have to get the Grandmaster or die, right? So for you, it's like, as long as you're playing primarily Echo or primarily support and you're not swapping every week, it should be fine. And as long as you're getting in 8, 12 hours a week somewhere in that spectrum, again, you should be fine, at least to get out of gold. So again, something stinks here. And I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe it's the execution of some of the gameplay mechanics. Maybe there's something that you don't understand. Have you looked into controller settings? Sorry to interrupt, but have you looked into like controller sensitivity settings? I don't know jack about it, but there's got to be a million YouTube videos out there.
Yeah, so that's the thing I was going to bring up.
Okay.
I have a little bit of a habit of, I think this is something a lot of people do, where they go on a lost streak and like, surely I need to change my settings. Surely I need to mess up my my memory, like the things that naturally work for me, and just change up. Surely, like, if I had aimbot right, I would just win.
Yeah.
So recently I switched to a lower natural sense, but as like I in theory I have fast reaction time, but while I'm aiming I have more control.
Okay.
And I'm still adjusting to it for sure.
Okay. Yeah, don't do that anymore. I think once you have like a halfway decent sensitivity, like I don't know how it is in console, but I imagine it's similar, where there's definitely a bit of a debate about what's the optimal sensitivity, but there's a general like gray area where you're probably got a decent one, right? As long as you're not on either end of the extreme. I assume it's similar with console. Same thing with you. If it's comfortable now, it should be comfortable forever, to be honest with you. If you do change your sense, that's fine. But that needs to be, like everything else, not on a consistent basis at all. I've worked with players that had the exact same situation with you, where it's like, I just don't feel right today. It must be my sensitivity. No, you don't feel right today because that's just how humans work.
Right.
We don't always feel right. It doesn't matter how good of a pro player you are, or a bronze player, or whether you play for years, fast, slow reaction time, sleep well, don't sleep well. It just doesn't matter. Sometimes it just doesn't click, right? So ultimately, you go in, you train your basic positioning things, and you just recognize the fact that my aim's going to suck, and that's okay. I can still win games. You're going to have to break that habit. You're going to have to break that habit. Now, it's easier said than done, but I can tell you right now, I've worked with a lot of players who've been able to work through it just by focusing on the things that they can control. I think the reason why we do that is because it frustrates us to feel like we cannot control our lack of mechanical performance. So surely there's some way we can control it. Oh, yes, we can. Right. Change our sensitivity. But but reality is that's just like saying, my car is not fast enough today. I'm going to put on a new coat of paint. Right. Unless you're a mechanic, you don't know how to fix it. And sadly, there's no such thing as a mechanic for our brains, at least not to the literal sense. So you just have to let it go and focus on what you can control. That's aside from your mechanics. Aside from your mechanics.
I will say, though, I'm very happy with my controls. I noticed for a lot of console characters, people will switch. Jump is normally X, which is super inconvenient. They change it to L2, and I've like switched my controls around, and that feels great. I don't feel like I haven't changed that.
Well, good for you. I mean, that's good. Like, I think finding your sensitivity is important, but I mean, once you find it, you kind of need to lock, right, and just let yourself get the reps in. If you do change it, you don't start from scratch. Like, I'm sure you're aware of that, but it does screw you up in terms of like your training for the next couple of weeks, and it's not a habit you want to fall into. For context, I think I've changed. I started with a sensitivity back in 2018, and I've changed it once since then. Around 2021, I cut it down a little bit lower, and I've used the same sensitivity in all characters. Console, you definitely have some limitations for sure, because 180s are just harder. You don't have like a big mouse pad, but so you might need a different sensitivity for different characters. But that's something you kind of want to avoid. Okay. Let's keep going here. Do you have any questions about training schedule, like how it should be done? Breaks, warm up.
Yeah, I guess I feel like I've kind of figured out what I like. I used to train a lot with Vaxta, but I realized I would just brainlessly shoot things, not even really thinking. So I just started using Deathmatch, and I don't really ever go into Vaxta that often anymore. Okay. I usually do Deathmatch, a game or two of Quick Play, and then I hop into comp. Okay,
I actually like that a lot. I think Vax is phenomenal for warm-up, but I just don't think it's very good for mechanics, because exactly as you said, it's just brainless. You just kind of go and you shoot stuff. There's not a lot of intention. I think you can make it brainful, but it's harder. There's something just about this. Competing is fun. Competing
sure.
is fun. Okay, do you have any other questions here before we get rolling?
I don't think so.
Okay, shoot me over your replay code when you get a chance.
All right. I have two. Um. All right. So this one I actually did like not even an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I honestly thought this was going to be a free win, but we ended up losing, so I feel like this is a good one to go with. The
Okay.
caps matter when I give this to you.
No.
Okay. I think that's.
We'll do a quick replay code check as well to see if this one's screwy or not. This, I don't know if you're familiar with the bug, but the perks crash the replay viewer when you skip around or skip forward, which makes reviewing VODs really annoying because you can't skip backwards. Just, oh, I missed the play, I got to skip back. Nope, it's gone. It crashes your game. But about 25-30% of codes don't bug out at all. So I like to see if the code's clean, because if it's not, we can still use it, but I just have to be careful. So yeah, this one's dirty. But the good news is that it didn't crash until the very, very end. So we'll be able to skip around until like the last couple of team fights. But yeah, it sucks because some of the codes that people will send in are like, it crashes like in the very first team fight. And so if we miss something, the only way to go back and look at it is to literally leave the replay viewer and start all over again, which is not great. So you have to go very patiently and very slowly. But I think this code should be fine. I mean, it's very, very end it was bad, but that's totally fine. Okay, can you see stream still?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so recent game, you said it felt like a free win, and that's probably why you're taking a look at it here, correct?
Yeah, so I feel like I was getting a good amount of picks, but I think maybe we lost ult economy because like if you look at like I know the scoreboard isn't that like it doesn't say everything, but you look at the scoreboard, my team is objectively doing better in terms of scoring, but they won obviously. So
Yeah,
they
in
probably
terms of
have a
like
better ult
KD.
economy. They're being better with the objectives, so I just want to
Yeah.
take a look at that and see your insight.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. A lot of it's like KD and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen games where the entire team went negative and they won the game. Generally, that happens more on like escort because you can just like die on cart, die on cart, die on cart, and just
Yeah,
eventually stop it.
I've had that where I went like 50 and like 7 on Diva one time in quick play and I lost. I was like, huh.
Yep,
I was
yep.
like, yeah, I guess that scoreboard really isn't all it like.
It really does. It really is. And there's certain heroes that are really good at that too. Like Rhine is notoriously not a stat farmer. Like you can die a lot as Rhine. Same thing with Doomfist, right? And still get a lot of value out. So okay, so what is Echo uniquely strong at compared to other DPS? Now this is a big question because it's not easy to answer with Echo compared to other DPS.
Well, pretty much every single like guide I've seen on YouTube, people talk about her like one of her biggest strengths is getting the drop on people because
Okay.
her flight is so silent,
Okay.
which I don't tend to do. Like it's not every map is built for it, but I find
Agreed.
she's generally good at off angling. Her primary fire does decent like damage if you're spamming, and the stickies if you're spamming in a choke in certain points.
So you're saying you got some decent range pressure.
Yeah, like on
I'd agree with that.
do you guys call it like soft off angling? Like you're like in the like your left and right side.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so decent range pressure. What else?
Just like she can also punish tanks that are overly aggressive. They get half health. They're usually
Right.
dead.
So your target priority is much more flexible. You can put out decent range pressure on tanks, DPS supports. Target priority is pretty flexible. Okay, now you kind of referenced it with the quote unquote silent flight, but your assassination potential, right? Which, if we want to be more literal with our description, your ability to get up close to something and annihilate it, essentially, like Reaper style, right? Now, the difference between how Echo does it and Reaper does it is Echo's cooldown dependent with doing that, right? What is required for you to be a proper close range DPS? Let's ask that question.
Well, generally, high mobility. So like Tracer and Genji, like they have the ability to get out and take cover pretty much whenever they need to. And Echo kind of has that with her flight
Sure.
only being a 6-second cooldown. Just not as they're not. I don't think she's like a straight up same type of dive as those two.
Agreed.
Maybe.
But you have that mobility which allows you to get close. But that's only one of the cooldowns. What else allows you to actually function up close situationally?
Well, if you're closer, the stickies are just more likely to hit, especially if they're not jumping around.
And beam, no? Right?
Yeah.
like both of those things, like that's kind of where you function. So there's a couple of heroes in this game. It's actually funny. I was having this conversation yesterday with a student. There's a handful of characters in this game that can win 1v1s at almost any range with an asterisk. And I think Hanzo, right? Storm Arrow, you hit your shots, you scout, can win duels in any range. Sombra, you hit that virus, doesn't matter what range you're at, they're in serious trouble. You hit the hack, it doesn't matter. It's hard to do it, and you might fail miserably, so there's always that asterisk, right? And I think Echo, right? You get the stickies. If you land full stickies on pretty much any 300 HP target, you're in a really good spot to win that 1v1.
Right.
It doesn't matter what range. It doesn't matter close, it doesn't matter far. So I think this is what makes sometimes those characters frustrating to play versus. But actually, I think it also makes those characters very difficult to play. And I know some people might disagree with me, but I think that they're wrong because it's not easy hitting stickies. And if you make a mistake, you're dead. And the same thing applies to those other characters as well. There isn't like, oh, take Genji, short range off angle, Widowmaker, long sight lines. It's like, well, everything has an asterisk with it. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to simplify things because you have flexibility here. You could land a long range stickies on this Ashe. Probably would want to get closer. Torb? I don't know. Do you get close or you get far? I don't know. It's up to you. Brigitte, same thing. It's easier to land stickies on Brig, but also in theory, she can hit you easier. Zarya, same thing. Like, it's not so simple as that. So what I want you to do is I want you to simply look at the angle and be like, does this feel right? Do I feel like I could put out pressure here comfortably? Does that make sense? Excuse me. So like right now, you're on what we would call a soft off angle, okay? And that means you're not, in terms of if we were to draw this like a clock, you're like 3 o'clock, right? That's fine. That's good. Using your mobility, they can't really push you out, and so on. In terms of the range that you're playing, obviously Ashe has a major advantage, but here's the thing. Do you have to shoot the Ashe right now?
Definitely not necessarily. I mean, I see that the Curie and Junk are to the right, or my left. So they could, she could be pressing, because I don't even think she's looking at me. So I could be, in theory, distracting her from them.
Sure,
but
you absolutely can be. But once your stickies are gone, this is no longer a duel that you feel comfortable winning.
Of course not. Yeah, no.
So then where should you turn your attention to from this angle?
Like, maybe like applying pressure to the Brig.
And that's just it. And this is where Echo is crucial. You basically cycle pressure onto the backline and be like, hey, I might be able to go for you, I might not. But then if you don't get the pressure that you want, you could just use your poke here. Now, you could ask yourself, would an Ashe do more damage to this Brigitte Zarya from here? Probably. But how on earth would an Ashe get here safely?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what makes your character unique, is your ability to take an angle and poke tank or poke frontline without really getting contested by the DPS because of the angle that you hold. Okay? So I like this. And this is where I think you're thinking way too much about the target and not about what does this off angle allow me to shoot. If you focus on the position first, then allow yourself to shoot what is convenient from that angle, you will simplify your thought process immensely. You understand? I'm pretty sure right here the Brig makes a little bit of a silly choice. Yeah, but see, that's exactly what we want, right? Like this is what your mobility allows you to do. So this is very good. You're a huge problem. You didn't even necessarily need to fly away. Yeah, you go right back again. See, this is huge. Because if I'm your Zarya, I'm not getting really poked out too hard. Now, this is one question I'm going to ask you here, because this is where I like the fact that you're on an angle, but you're on the wrong angle. Can you tell me why? I'm not going to give you any hints here. I'm going to see if you can figure it out.
I feel like my range and my position just doesn't let me get the drop on anyone, really. Everyone is, like, all the enemy team is in a spot where they have really good cover from me if I did start applying pressure to them.
Okay, so what's your solution? Do you have another angle choice?
Maybe
I want you to understand this is really hard. This is really hard. Go ahead.
Maybe above, like I can fly above the point because there's good cover there.
Okay, so it's the wrong answer because you're but hang on, it's the wrong answer, but you're looking at the right things. Why did you like this position?
because it has good, like, decent cover. Like, in
Okay,
theory, I can't flip forever, but
Sure,
for a time
sure.
that Ashe won't be able
Sure.
to see
So
me.
in theory, I mean, if you could play this perfectly, you could shoot the tank from here. I'm still really scared of that Ashe, basically, right? Like I'm still kind of
Right.
putting myself in the middle, which is why I don't like it that much. But hang on. You said you liked, I'm going to put some words in your mouth here, but interpreting, you like the geometry of this position for your angle choice. Let's go back to this angle here. Do you like the geometry of this position for what you can do uniquely?
I'm not sure.
It's just fine. You know, it's like,
Right.
it's cover, it's an angle, but it's nothing uniquely Echo about this. Okay? Let me ask, pull back and tell me, is there anything uniquely Echo that you could see that would allow you to put up pressure? And we're looking for verticality here, because that's what you look for on point.
Yeah, so would I potentially fly in the back and, like, I don't know.
So
just,
you're,
like, a few
so you
people
could,
back there.
so you're saying go here.
Right. And my junk is already there, trying to.
Ignore your junk, ignore the Ashe. Like let's remove them from the battlefield. Think more about just general principles here. I like this. I like this, to be honest with you. I think this is extremely high risk, but it's also very high reward. And I like it because of this crap. This just gives you more options. And so if I were to look for an opportunity to contest this Ashe, it would never be through here. It would never be through here. It'd be straight up flight as quickly as I can to here. Is I going to be crossing the open and kill me? Yeah, probably, possibly. But that's what I would like you to do if you had that opportunity. Now, I'm going to go back because you're going for the high risk one, but there's a much, much easier solution. Do you see it?
Yeah. I think so.
Where is it at? This is tough. By the way, you're doing great. This is like, I'm not expecting you to nail this one. So don't feel like, oh, I'm trolling. No, this is really, really hard. But if you can nail this, you're going to solve Echo.
So I feel like in this current scenario, I either help my junk win this 1v1, he might be losing,
Sure.
or since the Ashe is distracted and the Juno is so caught up on her full health Zarya, I could go for her.
You could go for her, but what you're doing is you're divorcing yourself from the discussion that we're having. I don't want to know what's going to solve this situation. That's too niche, and that's not something you're going to like. When you go back into Busan next time you play this map, I want you to know what you're going to do, regardless of what they're playing, or regardless of whether you have a Junkrat in the flank, or regardless of whether you this is irrelevant. I don't care where they are or what comp they are. This is just map knowledge. Where should you go on rollout?
Probably that top right? There's decent cover.
So
Big health
back where we talked over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Give me another option. That's too deep. There's another even easier option.
Then I guess the left. Contest the left.
Come on. This is insane.
Right? Yeah.
This is insane. So the problem was that your map inexperience led you to go to the wrong angle for Echo. You still took an angle, which is better than half the Echoes in this rank, which is why you did a good job, right? Any angle is better than no angle, right? But if you have to choose, I like this angle better. Why? You tell me. What do you see, you know?
Yeah, I see plenty of places to navigate to with flight.
Yeah, there's flight, there's levels, there's layers, there's cover, right?
Yeah, you
there's
can float
poke
on
angles.
the rim of that of that roof.
Yeah, and the thing is it doesn't matter who's here. Tank, Torp, Widow, Zarya, Genji, Tracer. In theory, you have options to outplay them all from these angles if you use your verticality correctly. It might not always be easy, but this is probably going to be the angle that you want to contest. If they contest you, well, you fight, you live, and you die here. If they don't contest you, where do you go from here if there's nobody here?
I can go right through that window.
Yeah. Here. And now you're doing the same thing over here, but now the rotation was even easier. Why? Because there was cover. So
yeah, I'm happy you brought that up because I feel like I don't think about the map like geometry as much as I should. Because I feel like now that I think about it on this specific map, whenever people go on this right side, I always see them die. Like
right, Tracer's here, you're cooked. Ashe is here, it's really hard, right? Like it's just hard because those characters are better flatter. So when you think about whether Echo is a short range or whether she's a long range character, the answer is yes, she's both. What's more important and the thing that you have that is unique to you is your verticality. Mm-hmm. And so you're less concerned about short versus long, you're more concerned about up, if that makes sense. And if you're able to leverage that, you've pretty much solved positioning. So what I'm going to do is we're going to skip back to the start of this fight. And as well as you played it from the right angle, you should feel really proud about that. Let's just see what could have happened. Let's just park our camera here with a little bit of overlay. Okay, you see it?
Mm-hmm.
He's done. He's cooked. This is broken. Okay? This is poked on Zarya. This is poked. Easy dive kill. You see how much easier this is?
Yeah.
You actually did really well here in terms of like your choices, your angle. It was really good. That's really nice stickies from you. But my goodness, it would be easier. So this is what I want you to think about. Verticality and geometry with which angle you choose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And what you could do is you could practice the skill over and over and over again on rollout. Where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? Like what one provides that cover? Now, if there is literally no vertical cover, we're to get to some difficulties next round, I feel like. Then you can make some choices with what you do. But as long as you have that option, it's going to feel good. I mean, you see it?
Yeah.
It's spooky, but yeah. I like this from you a lot. Good stickies. Good. You can copy if you need to.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
General principle with copy is either int, just go all in and copy, or just hold the angle until they pressure you and then copy. And then preferably dump your CDs here too. So honestly here, think less about copying Zarya and more about staying here and poking until you get low and then copy either Juno or Zarya just because you have to.
Right.
This is too valuable of a position, and you gave up your angle to copy a Zarya. I don't know if you're going to be able to get anything done with a Zarya. I might be wrong, but it's going to be hard. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's something I thought about as soon as I did it. I was like, oh, I still had some cooldowns that I could have.
Yeah, you had cooldowns, you had HP, and then you gave up the angle. I'm gonna say
I was just so
something
scared of being bursted down in like half a second.
by Juno, you know, if you're on the left angle here, like you need to trust your angle first and then go from there. Like I would be scared of being bursted down if you'd approached it from this side, but my goodness gracious, would a copy be valuable here, right? Focus more on the position and less on the target with copy. And I know that's going to be spicy for some people, but it's the truth.
Feel you.
And then for here, I would just bubble yourself. Yeah. Copy itself is fine. Like Zarya is a fine copy if you can choose. Nice. Yeah, this is alright.
And then my Moira was able to capitalize on it. I mean, we probably were going to win that anyway.
Hey, you're going to win it either way. Your copy was huge, but yeah. Okay, let's keep going here. Any questions so far? I know there was a lot of information there dumped.
No, I think we're going pretty well here.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, so I have a little bit. I have a habit of like trying to go in the back and get easy picks sometimes, which sometimes like works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, you can kind of see the problem with going for it there is more about this space is where we're fighting, and this just feels really naked. If you'd kind of let them walk towards your team first, this would have been a lot better. So your mistake was not only not exactly playing the geometry as well as you could have, right? But more importantly, where's your team and where are you?
Yeah. That's something I like keep trying to like tell myself at the start of a game, pay attention to your team, pay attention to your team, and then like when I'm in the game, I just
So when you're choosing angle, look at your team first, then look at the geometry. That's the order of operations. Because this angle's great, but if your team is spawn camping, this angle's garbage. Where should you be if your team was holding this choke here or holding the choke here? Where should you be?
I could be like right there.
Actually, kind of where you are, right? Right? Like this is actually okay. So this is not always a bad angle. Maybe you could have played the roof or something like that, sure. But this is okay. Like it's high risk, high reward, but not if your team is back here. That's the key thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't hate this. Like you stickied, you flew out, you tried to disengage. You need to go to cover faster, and you should be okay. Here you go. Okay, thank you. But the problem was just the timing of the engage specifically.
Yeah.
That's all. Sure, a little too in the open here. And then obviously, if you were to disengage, again, where's your geometry here? Where do you need to go?
Towards that like bottom left where that hole is, maybe.
Yeah, you need to go back this way, away from your team. Grab the health pack, sure. Let the passive heal kick in, sure. But you can't be here. You get killed here. This is like wide in the open. So you're kind of migrating back to your team, yeah. But then ultimately, like, it's fine that you break turret, sure. But you're screwed. If anything happens here, this is really scary. Okay, this is good. We got off to the side. Mechanics are looking okay so far, by the way. Yeah, this is not I mean, yeah, the reason, why did you die? You're just in the middle of nowhere, right? You did your best to get out to an angle, but obviously it was very late. You had to use your cooldown, and then you end up dying to random crap. I mean, Zarya is just shooting random stuff. She doesn't even care about you.
Fire at will.
No
Oh, I
comment?
forgot. Yeah. I think I was picking my perk or something.
Okay. Honestly, not too shabby. Some big macro stuff with which angle you choose. I think the details about the ultimate placement is important. And then timing. Those are the three things. But in terms of like mechanics and how you're using your CDs, it's pretty decent, right? Any questions?
No, I think I'm happy you told me that the positioning is more important than her copy, because there are characters I love copying. I love copying Mei. I love copying Kiri.
Yep.
And Ana. But like whether or not that goes well completely, like whether I'm not, what position I'm in completely determines whether or not. I
Yeah,
get
exactly.
value.
The way to look at it is the reason the angle matters is because if you don't succeed with the copy in terms of getting kills, but you come in from the side, even if the copy fails, your team will benefit from it. You're going to force a weird response in the same way like the Brig Bash that you first fight, right? Like if you don't win the 1v1, it's still really annoying, expensive, the Zaryan Brig to have to put resources into you, right? Whereas if you're kind of stacked with your team, it's kind of like you're just kind of a casualty of what they're already looking at.
Oh yeah, I do have a
copies-
question.
Yeah, go for it.
Is it good to like, I guess like not try to use copy as a second, like not actively look at it that way, but like if I'm in a rough situation and I see that the fight is winnable, like using
Yeah.
it just as a second life.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. Absolutely.
Alright.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the way to look at copy is like when you have it, it's good to try to go for the high risk, high reward angles, if that makes sense. But if you just kind of find yourself mid fight and the fight's still winnable, and use it. Go for it. Totally fine. Now, it's funny that you as soon as I saw what map the code was on, I was like, yeah. I'm not surprised you lost. Because look at the geometry here.
Right.
There isn't a
It's
really
like, this
clean
map is
solution.
so open.
So here are your
So why?
choices, right? You make the best of a bad situation, right? Is this in any way a strength of your character? Now you are on an angle, but does this feel good at all?
Thank you for the assistance.
No, I'm like, if I was like an Ash or Widow
Yeah.
or Soldier here, I'd be
Sure.
doing so much more.
Exactly. Is there any way that you can leverage your mobility or your verticality on this fight here? Like any way, like any position. Be creative. Don't be scared of getting it wrong. Let's just experiment. We look for anything that actually gives the reward for the risk. We don't care if it's high risk or low risk. We just want something that rewards you for doing something.
Yeah, so when I went for this angle, I couldn't tell you my process. I mean, I thought, hey, maybe there's a chance someone
Sure.
goes here by themselves. But
Sure.
I feel like the correct answer is kind of similar to first point.
Okay.
Round one. Going to the left here, probably. Like, I can
So-
fly around that turbine thing in the middle.
So you
there.
could basically play Echo here.
Yeah.
Okay, I
That's
want
what
you to go
I'm
try that in matches and see how it goes. I like that. It's not great cover, but it's something, right? It's something. I actually think that's
background,
that's right. I think that's probably a low risk or medium risk, medium reward angle. Let's put it that way. Okay. And let me give you a few couple other ones. Okay. Rotate out from under and approach from this here.
So I can
High
like, get
risk,
a jump on someone.
bam. High risk, high reward. Drop whatever. High risk, high reward. The other one is if you're going to come this way, use your verticality and your flight speed to come approach this from this angle here. Where if you're going to get poked out, you will. At least you're going to force a really egregious response, and you have a health back and some form of cover here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the angle I'm at right now, I'm like sitting there like,
Yeah,
Like,
you're not.
where's-
It's not. You're not getting reward for the risk. Is what I'm saying. This is ridiculously risky. This is also pretty darn risky. This is actually basically as risky as the position that you're at, but at least there's a higher reward here. Right. So that's basically it. You just got to go like, well, I'm on a unicycle in a bicycle race, so I might as well do the best that I can. And you can make it work. Like Echo's flexible enough so that you can find a solution here. Yeah, see, this is okay. You need to be very careful about the use of cover and making sure that you have your flight cooldown. That's the key thing here, though.
yeah,
So
that Moira orb saved me.
yeah,
for a little bit, and then-
for a little bit, right? You just need to be a little bit faster and a little bit quicker to cover, and probably just roll out that way in the first place. But yeah,
Yeah, they tried to keep me up, but that Ash hits her shots.
Enemy turret ahead.
sure,
Enemy turret destroyed.
okay. Where's your next step
I-
here?
Yeah, I was not paying attention to that Ashe.
Yeah, it's hard. Where's your next step? How do you approach this, Ashe?
I probably should have. Or no, my cooldown was gone. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can see through the wall in this replay that she was looking to the left. So she was predicting that I was going to come from a different angle. So I probably could have stuck to the angle I was already going for. But luckily I had a Moira behind me to help
Here's a
me.
really simple answer. You ready for this one? Here's what you do. You wait until you have flight, and then you fly to the pillar.
Okay. Yeah.
Geometry is what allows you to win the 1v1s. So when I'm here, I approach the Ashe this way. If I want to go to point, then I approach it this way, and I play the verticality here. Like, this is verticality too, if you come this way. You could approach duels this way as well. You see what I'm saying? That would be fine as well. So the problem here is you're not using your verticality, right? You actually hit a decent amount of stickies, but how are you supposed to win this 1v1? Equally skilled Ashe, equally skilled Echo? Echo should never win this. Never.
Yeah.
You know, you could always go, oh, if I
Moira
can hit
wasn't
my
here, I was
shots.
dead.
Yeah, if I can hit my shots, or if I can hit my stickies, it doesn't matter. Like, because the Ashe is going to get better as you get better, too. And that's never going to be a 1v1 that scales well for you. Now, you close the distance, and like you said, the Moira helps you out. But that is remarkably fortunate. Now,
Well, something
where
I'm
do you...
trying to think about. It's like if I was in plat here, trying to do my own thing, like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing, too, is it's even if you're not in plat, gold Ashes will kill you.
Yeah.
Gold Ashes will kill you at a rate enough to keep you in gold. They won't kill you every time. They won't punish every mistake. But they'll punish enough mistakes to keep you in gold, right? That's kind of the way to look at it, right?
Enemy turret eliminated.
Yeah, sure. Do you notice how you used, without cooldowns, used your mobility and verticality to kill this Torp?
Yeah.
Look at how you approach this 1v1. Broke turret from range with your stickies, which is nice. Flew up, used the cover of the pillar to approach from a side angle, and he's murdered. Right? That's clever.
Ashes to ashes.
That is Echo. Now, I would prefer you to come in from up top here, but I think you're about to use Echo stuff again. You're going to sticky, and you're going to fly out. Again, what DPS could do what you just did? Pharah? That's about it, right? Good stuff.
Enemy turret detected.
That was a good way to end that fight. Oh, that perk. Freaking love that perk. That perk's hilarious. All right, where do you need to be? Kind of where you're at, right?
Yeah. Trying to just keep this toward threatened a little bit here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, my junk was here to help
Yeah,
us.
that's nice. What do you think?
I think so I'm pretty sure here I end up duping the Zarya again, and we just push them back to spawn.
Sure.
But then I think we win. I think we get all 3 games. We get to go through all 3 points here. But
Yeah.
I think they briefly cap after we push them to spawn.
Okay.
Could be wrong,
Okay.
though.
Okay. This looks okay. Like the angle's there. You're ready to pop your copy if you need to.
That feels better.
I did not just do that. but-
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Yeah, that's
So I
okay.
was about
I
to
mean,
die there.
yeah. And look what it cost her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So that's fine. You used the fact that you had copy. Double grab. That's crazy.
Ascending.
Torb's alone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
jumped there.
That's crazy.
Levels.
Yeah, and I see my Zarya's alone. Oh yeah, she needs some help.
Fixating on target.
You know, you gotta be really careful about stacking here. Where do you need to be?
I should probably be trying. Well, right now since my cooldowns are up, I should probably be taking cover. Until it comes back, I can fly up.
Right. So that's the key thing, is to go to a spot that makes sense for you. Whether that's here, or hugging here, or backing off to here. You need to find some vertical cover. You need to find your geometry. This is, you're in serious trouble. Okay, there we go. That was it. Again, do you notice that the approach to this fight here? Look at the approach. Verticality, bam. DPS just don't do this. You know?
Right.
I can count in one hand the amount of DPS that could do what you just did.
That's why I love her. You can be anywhere, wherever you want.
Well, that's the thing.
gotta be
And
careful.
you use the verticality to your advantage. And if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't win this fight. You get what I'm saying? This is good.
Because I think she popped Bob here. Yeah, and killed her Moira.
And now, like, this is still a winnable fight. Yeah, how do you...
All that learning paid off.
How? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
How?
Locking satellite vector.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, you got caught in the middle of things. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is one of the more insane things I've ever seen. But yeah, that Juno just straight up kills 3 people.
I can do
Yeah,
better
she's
than
4
she's
people.
going up a
Okay.
little bit.
Yeah. Okay, that's all right.
ultimate reach.
I thought they nerfed that ult.
Target mark.
Okay. I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
he's
like
doing.
this. Yeah, like I said, I see a lot of Torbs. I like being able to counter them. I mean, when you see the level 5 turret, it's a bit scary, but
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Are you using your mobility and your verticality? Is this a reasonable position for you right now?
potentially, yeah.
Sure.
They're all on point right now, and my team is all gathered together. So, like, if they're distracted seeing my team huddle together, I could potentially go down, continue to the right, and
Sure.
use that cover, that back to get a.
Sure. And because there's nobody up top, okay, I say that, but yeah, there was nobody up top. Yeah, this is okay.
Oh, yeah, I try and get Bob here, but
This is okay. This is
got-
okay. This is okay. Like the angle is okay. There's better ways of approaching it. Yeah, but this is okay. I would have used my dynamite sooner, but other than that, it was okay. Yeah, it was just bad dynamite, but the copy itself was okay. It allowed your team to rotate for free, and you did this 4v5 as well, which is not bad. The really important thing is what's the next step, and I think you're about to make a big error.
You think I'm gonna fly above them and
Yeah,
Get a
what do you
bullet.
need to do? How do you use your verticality? How do you use your cover? How do you approach this angle here? Obviously, we have the power of hindsight here, but with what you can see here.
potentially like go under and around, like under the bridge,
Like here,
and go
right?
around. Yeah.
You know? Like this is echo material. This is not echo material.
Right.
That's the key thing here. So even if this works, I will not like it. And
Oh yeah, I was like, how'd you not die?
yeah, I mean, you should have died, right? But even if you didn't die, like, you should have done more. You should have been still shooting from here. You took too much damage.
Them down. Taking flight.
This is Echo. See, this is Echo, though. This is the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a really bad start. But this is exactly what Echo does. Right here. Why not? You have the tools for it. Do it. This is also Echo. Drop, hide. Still have your flight. This is okay. Now, I would be cautious. Fly out. Use the verticality. Would have kept flying there if I were you. And then crucially, you die. Why? Because you stop echoing. You're like, you don't have CDs. You don't have cover. But you're like, it's fine. Let's just kill this Zarya. No,
Ashe
no,
doesn't
no.
exist.
It's not fine. Hide, live, shoot Lucio, recover, look for a way to assassinate Lucio, or shoot Zarya from cover, or look to sneak up on the Ashe or something. You can't throw your body on point here. And so yeah, you're getting these assassinations, but then you're needlessly throwing your life away because you stop echoing. You start playing. It looks like a bronze Pharah, right? I'm just flying in the middle of nowhere. But just because I'm up one doesn't mean that I'm allowed to do that, because it costs you cooldowns and healing to get those kills.
Right.
So despite you guys being up one here, their Ashe, has positioning. You don't. I mean, you look at this fight, like, no wonder your Zarya didn't live with the Ashe sitting up here, uncontested, right? So this fight's, we're lost here. Okay, so crucially, I see flashes of brilliance with you using your verticality or using your mobility to approach fights, either to poke or to dive in assassinations. But you get a little sloppy sometimes. You float in the open without decisively making a game plan for the angle that you're holding, and then you get picked and traded unnecessarily. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. This is another difficult one. Where's your space? This one's a bit trickier.
So yeah, this middle area is just like, it's not high up at all. Like
No,
I could maybe I stick closer to that building in the top right, maybe, or go
So
to the
like
left
up here,
building. Like further up, like towards that little hole there. If that's the correct
Yeah,
answer, I'd
give it a
totally
shot.
see it.
Give it a shot. Yeah, see what it goes. Like, obviously, if the Widow or whatever grapples you, but then you can always hug here. You
that's
can
what I
use
was
this little
thinking,
panel
yeah.
here. Honestly, mate, you could even rotate here in first fight and play from here and approach from this angle here. See how it goes. It's a little hard if you don't have a lot of ranged healing, but you have a life weaver. It's okay. And I still think even if it's not. So I would say this, maybe hover around here to rotate to here, or hover around here. And if fights break out on a point, I mean, this is your friend, right? This guy right here.
Yeah.
But exactly, like the thing is, it's like you can be wrong. It's fine. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
see the Ash. That's like,
Yes. The only
chicken.
criticism I have is you should have been here a second or two ago instead of sitting and poking on me. Just don't waste time. Go. Yeah. See this. See, this is not about like who wins up close or who wins far. It doesn't matter. She's done. Goodbye. And the best part, you could stay. Good angle to break turret. Good angle to approach Juno. What do you think about this positioning for you overall?
In theory, it's really great. I have that wall to like
Yeah,
maneuver range, and the plate
verticality,
is still
cover,
right there.
cooldowns. You're approaching from the high ground, so you still have your shift. Yeah, this is insane. No wonder you felt so good. I would have kept going here. Find that. Where's the next angle here? Why are you backing off? You just killed two. You're good. Where's the
I
next
think I
angle
was-
from?
I think I was waiting. Oh no, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was waiting for my team. I think I was a little scared. I was.
Yeah,
just,
you have two people here, three people here. It's okay. It's a 4v4 or 4v3. So then from here, you could play above point here, or you can go and kill the Ashe again. So it's ironic that like the person that in the first round went in completely by yourself, and now you're here to fight a 4v3.
Yeah.
Just go. Sure. Why? Because of this spot here. This is why.
I think that Juno just like,
You're
jumped
cooked.
above me, didn't even notice me.
You're cooked here. Yeah, I mean, maybe you don't die here because you got that perk, but why on earth are you approaching the Ashe like this? Why leave it up to chance?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And this is where I've been really, really hypercritical with you because so many of your other things have looked really nice. Like, I have a lot of confidence that you're going to hit these stickies and maybe even win the 1v1, but I don't feel like you should. And as you said, okay, well, yeah, even a broke clock is worth twice a day. So, yeah. I mean, we don't have to say anything about that. Just need a little bit of
Yeah.
patience. Sit here,
And
Then
wait
what?
for her to.
or
She can like walk down here on her own.
how
I'll
would,
wait
if you
for
were
my-
to, if you were to force the kill, when would you do it? What do you need to do it? What's the echo thing? How did you get it the first time?
Yeah, I could have hugged that corner there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like going to that top left spot, that roof, that would have been. Because she could have just like stood there and like
Mm-hmm. Sure.
camped me.
Here's
or
another
smoked
question.
Me a little bit.
Just fly up and then approach it this way.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like, just the verticality alone gives you an advantage because where's her crosshair planted right now? You know? And where are you approaching from?
Right.
You know? Even if she does see you, you're not abusing awareness. This isn't like some gimmick that'll get you to plat, but plat Ashes will punish you. Grandmaster Ashes, they don't want to move their crosshair up. It's scary. And if you miss your stickies from above, you still hit the floor. And now it explodes and hits them anyway. You see what I'm saying? Whereas here,
I
if you miss,
see.
it goes right past them. Verticality is everything, mate. Verticality is everything. And so approaching the Ashe duel is fine. Not using verticality and walking in a straight line at her has almost always resulted in failure with you.
Yeah,
Second
then
round,
my team carried this fight here. Yeah.
yeah, your team carried, yep. So let's see. Set up top left, set up on right. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
think I'm waiting for
yeah.
Ash.
Yeah. This is it. She's cooked. Complete faith in you. Complete faith in you.
But by the time this happened, two of my people, my supports were dead.
They're stupid. They died instantly. There was like you didn't show up too late. You showed up right on time. They just died immediately. Not your fault. Good.
I'm not sure.
Just
Did the enemy use any ults? No, they all.
No, they just messed up. Yeah. I mean, this is
yeah,
just
it was a
goofy
little-
mechanical screw ups, but like this is okay. This is all right. The only thing is you might stagger yourself. Wait.
Yeah,
Are
if
you
I
okay?
die here, my team's in.
Nice.
Enemy turret
Yeah, we just don't want you here. Where should you be?
Probably more towards that wall there with the doors by the
Sure.
Lucio.
Any sort of verticality, just not on the floor, in the middle of the open. Right.
I think I
fine.
got a little cocky here because I saw our Ashe ulted, and I was like, oh, surely we don't.
Yeah,
lose.
yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, and by the way, that's a consistent theme with you, right? Right? I'm really, you're relatively disciplined with your positioning until you guys get a pick, and then everything goes out the window.
Right.
Nice.
repositioning.
Yeah, again, verticality. I mean, what can she do about this? Only thing here is you copy Ashe. Just do it. It's fine. Copy the Ashe.
I think
get
I
the kill.
tried. It was just the window is like not. Big
Ah,
enough.
okay. It happens. So I will say that play was good. It was just a mechanical failure. It's fine. Oh no, I messed up. I shouldn't have skipped. My bad. Last couple fights. Let's actually stop there and let's take some notes here. So Echo, What needs to be practiced with Echo is kind of the same thing hammered over and over again, but I want to see if you can frame it in your own words in a way that feels a little bit more actionable.
So mostly just like not not getting too cocky just because we get one pick doesn't mean the fight's automatically won. Like I still need to think about my positioning, using flight and my verticality to get the drop on people.
Yes. So basically the idea is positioning around map geometry.
Yeah,
With
thinking
cover.
about my rollouts a lot more. That's something I feel like I never do that much. With like I feel like Echo, I just don't think about it. I do with other characters, but like I feel like I feel like I can be anywhere I want. It's something I guess inherently don't
Yes.
feel like I needed. I didn't feel the need to think about it as much.
Yeah. It's like you were clearly invested in angles, which I think is really nice. Like good stuff, 100%. But also like which angle do you take is more dependent on what does the map provide you. And I think that that's going to be not just a rollout thing, but how you respond to what the enemy team does. Like, you notice how you pushed up to the top left on that last round there above the building to kind of spawn camp the Ash. But what if the Ash had rotated with their team and gone to coast? What would you do? Think about it.
Well, yeah, if the Ash was with her team, my team was already like I was in a spot where my supports are dead, so I could potentially get a pick from behind. is what
Yeah,
I was
like why not
thinking.
tail them behind? You know, you could use the verticality of those buildings and just kind of dive bomb them from behind, especially if you have your copy, right? But see, that's exactly what you're thinking about. It's not so much about like how do I use my CDs. It's like what position can I take that the map gives me, depending on where my team is and where the enemy team is. Don't get sloppy with positioning just because you're up one. And then finally, with your ultimate, prioritize your
Positioning.
angle first, then who to copy. Even a Lucio or Mercy copy is fine if it allows you to do something really disruptive and insane on the back line or on the sideline from an angle that normally you would not hold because it's too risky. I'm not saying feed or play in the open, but high risk, high reward angles become a lot more attractive.
That's how I fell in love with Echo. I was like playing quick play, and our Lucio who had died when we were about to cap third point on cart, and I duplicated Mercy, res our Lucio. He beated, let us live through a blade, and we won.
Yeah.
That was-
Yeah. It's really funny how like you can actually protect your team by coming in from that angle because it's so disruptive. Nobody's looking at your team. Like nobody's looking at your team at
because
all.
our Lucio died off to the side behind a
Yeah.
pillar, and I was able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, everyone just freezes and looks at you, and it's just like that's exactly what you need, right? And if they don't look at you, well, you're in the best position to kill 5. like it's just butcher time. So I really like overall your cycles of CDs. I think you were very attentive to like I can be a little bit more aggressive when I have my stickies and my flight. If I don't, I kind of chill. I don't vacate back to my team necessarily, but I'm kind of like playing to my cycle of cooldowns, and that's really good. That's exactly how Echo needs to be playing. So I think your cooldown cycle overall, your cooldown usage overall was pretty good. I want you to focus exclusively on where do I need to position that as unique to Echo with verticality. And if the map doesn't provide anything like that, you're going to have to experiment a little bit.
Yeah.
And then from there, staying disciplined when you're up one, and then being a little bit more positional focus when you have your ultimate as well. So everything is kind of revolving on positioning here, but I don't encourage you to work on all three of these at the same time. Just go in with the emphasis on one of these things, depending on the situation, depending on what you're feeling like practicing, and go from there. I'm surprised, considering your gold, with all due respect, that I don't have more feedback for micro, but I think you're in a good enough spot for it. Just practice makes perfect. And I don't think it was a weak point for you either. But if any questions do come up, just let me know, all right?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
actually one thing I wanted to talk
Sure.
about a little bit.
Let's do it.
When it comes to like usually you always say try and practice one thing at a time. Is it different for different people? Like you practice this one thing for a week or a day and you switch it the next day?
Your call. I used to say it
Okay.
once per week many years ago, but I realized it was generally not good advice because it's incredibly boring. So people would stop practicing it with intensity after like the first day. So I think mixing up per day, even per game, is fine. So if you look at a map like let's say you play Busan again, you are going to be locked in your positioning. We know it.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember the review, right? But if like, let's say there's a different map, you might be like, oh, I'm going to work really on setting up a good angle with my ultimates, and worry less about the positioning. Or, maybe I would also toss in like a bone here. Check team's positioning with timing.
Yeah, I tend to play more dive characters, so that's something I feel like I really
Yeah.
should get the hang of.
Yeah, so it's like, when can you safely turn around before the fight starts? So it's like, just like little habits like that. But honestly, however you want to practice it, as long as you're engaged and practicing that skill, I would say half of the team fights, then you're okay. Because you're never going to remember the entire game, but can I stay focused for half the team fight? That's big. Makes sense.
Of course, yeah.
All right, mate.